Welcome to Vedic Wisdom Insights. Welcome to final episode of Isopanisad series. It's been 17 weeks and we have discussed 17 verses focusing on different topics to achieve self-realization. I am sure everybody is enjoying this series and each verse has made us pure and most focusing on our behavior, habits and mind. I pray to my Guru Swami Mukundananda and ShreeKrishna to start 18th verse, which is the final verse in the Isopanishad. The verse Agne Naya Supata Re Asman Viswani Deva Vayu Nani Vidwan Yuyudhi Asmaj Juhuranam Eno Buhistam Te Nama Uktim Videma. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisance, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins, so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. Here, by surrendering to the Lord and praying for His causeless mercy, the devotee can progress on the path of complete self-realization. The Lord is addressed as fire because He can burn anything to ashes, including the sins of the surrendered soul. As described in the previous mantras, the real or ultimate aspect of the Absolute is His feature as the personality of Godhead, and His impersonal Brahma Jyoti feature is a dazzling covering over His face. Fruitive activities or the karmakand path of self-realization is the lowest stage in this endeavor. As soon as such activities even slightly deviate from the regulative principle of Vedas, they are transformed into vikarma. Such vikarma is enacted by the illusion-living entity simply for sense gratification, and thus such activities become hindrances on the path of self-realization. Self-realization is only possible in the human form of life, but not in other forms. There are 8.4 million species, of which the human form, qualified by Brahmanical culture, presents the only chance to obtain knowledge of transcendentals. Brahmanical culture includes truthfulness, control on senses, forbearance, simplicity, full knowledge and full faith in God. It is not that one simply becomes proud of his high parentage. Just as being born the son of a big man affords one a chance to become a big man, so being born the son of Brahman gives one a chance to become a Brahman. But such a birthright is not everything, for one still has to attain the Brahmanical qualifications for himself. As soon as one becomes proud of his birth as the son of Brahman and neglects to acquire the qualifications of a real Brahman, he at once becomes degraded and falls from the path of self-realization. Thus, his life's mission as a human being is defeated. The regulative principles are such that one who follows them is promoted from the platform of fruitive activities to the platform of transcendental knowledge. After many lifetimes of cultivating transcendental knowledge, one becomes perfect when he surrenders unto the Lord. This is a general procedure. But one who surrenders at the very beginning, as recommended in this mantra, he at once surpasses all preliminary stages simply by adopting the devotional attitude. As told in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, 66th verse, the Lord at once takes charge of a surrendered soul and frees him from all the reactions to his sinful acts. There are many sinful reactions involved in karma kand, whereas in gyan kand, the number of such sinful activities is smaller. But in devotional service to the Lord, the path of bhakti, there is practically no chance of incurring sinful reactions. Because a devotee of the Lord attains all the good qualifications of the Lord Himself, then what to speak of those of Brahman? A devotee automatically attains the qualifications of an expert Brahman, authorized to perform sacrifices, even though the devotee may not have taken his birth in a Brahman family. Such is the omnipotence of the Lord. He then can make a man born in a Brahman family as degraded as a low-born dog-eater, and he can also make a low-born dog-eater superior to a qualified Brahman simply on the strength of devotional service. Since the omnipotent Lord is situated within the heart of everyone, he can give directions to his sincere devotees by which they can attain the right path. Such directions are especially offered to the devotee even if he desires something else. As far as others are concerned, God gives sanction to the doer only at the risk of the doer. But in the case of devotee, the Lord directs him in such a way that he never acts wrongly. As told in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, 42 verse. Since the omnipotent Lord is situated within the heart of everyone, he can give directions to his sincere devotees by which they can attain the right path. Such directions are especially offered to devotee even if he desires something else. As far as others are concerned, God gives sanction to the doer only at the risk of doer. But in the case of devotee, the Lord directs him in such a way that he never acts wrongly. In this mantra of Sri Isopanisad, the devotee prays to the Lord to rectify him from within his heart. To err is human. A conditioned soul is very often to commit mistakes, and the only remedial measure to take against such unintentional sins is to give oneself up to the lotus feet of the Lord so that he may guide one to avoid such pitfalls. The Lord takes charge of fully surrendered souls. Thus all problems are solved simply by surrendering oneself unto the Lord and acting in terms of his directions. Such directions are given to the sincere devotee in two ways. One is by way of the saints, scriptures and spiritual master, and the other is by way of Lord himself who resides within the heart of everyone. Thus the devotee, fully enlightened with Vedic knowledge, is protected in all respects. Vedic knowledge is transcendental and cannot be understood by mundane educational procedures. One can understand the Vedic mantras only by the grace of the Lord and the spiritual master. If one takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, it is to be understood that he has obtained the grace of the Lord. The Lord appears as the spiritual master for the devotee. Thus the spiritual master, the Vedic injunctions and the Lord himself from within all guide the devotee in full strength. In this way, there is no chance for a devotee to fall again into the mire of material illusion. The devotee, thus protected all around, is sure to reach the ultimate destination of perfection. The entire process is hinted at this in mantra. And even in Srimad-Bhagavatam, it explains further. Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is itself an act of pity. The Lord wants everyone to hear and chant his glories because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, one becomes cleansed of all undesirable things, and then one's devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord. At this stage, the devotee acquires the Brahmanical qualifications, and the effects of lower modes of nature such as passion and ignorance completely vanish. The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service, and thus he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee. So this marks us the end of our Isopanisad. I owe all this success to my Guru, Swami Mukundananda, Srila Prabhupada and ShreeKrishna. All this has happened because of their grace and power. Without them, I would not have achieved this and completed this series. I pray to Lord to help everyone to surrender to Guru and God and start gaining knowledge that removes our darkness and ignorance. Let Lord help us to purify our mind, leading to become master of our mind and filled with high level of thoughts. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.